good to get back on the grass. It's always a long time, between wrapping things up and getting a chance to kind of get back out here and get going. You think about all the stuff that's happened since the bowl game in Albuquerque in terms of, roster changes and changes within our staff and just all these different things. And so it's good to see all the preparation come together and see guys go out and compete at a high level. And a lot of good things today, some things that we got to improve on. But I thought our effort was really, really good. Our attention to details got to get better. We got to improve there, pretty quickly. But, typical first day. But again, I thought the effort was consistent. I thought it was very competitive. You can tell that we've got more depth than we've had in the past. There's just more guys out there fighting for jobs and competing. And, you got guys that are running with threes that are making plays that are, pretty high level plays. And so it's a good thing to see. It's what you want to see, what you hope to see. So overall was pleased. Talked to the guys last night a little bit about the importance of setting the bar high with the first day, and I thought overall we did that. Again, lots of little things we can do better and ways to get better, but overall I thought it was good.
Coach, some key guys back involved at this spring. How important is that?
Yeah, I mean it's big. Just tons of guys, obviously. Paul and Mike, those guys just being out there and being around are just such a physical presence for us. So good to see them out there. Chase Curtis is in the same vein, just somebody that, has been here for a long time, has poured a lot in this program, a guy that consistently gives you great effort and great toughness and great leadership. And again, Paul, Mike, and Chase were three notable guys that were back with us today. It's good to see that. Obviously getting Vernon and Avery back was huge at the corner spot. And those guys I thought moved around well and looked comfortable. I paid particular attention to them just to see, how they bounced back coming off of those ACLs. But was happy to see those guys move around and pleased with all those guys, really those five guys that I mentioned.
Anything you're looking for in this first phase, you can't say these first 4 or 5 practices?
Yeah, big thing, like I said, is just effort. I think that it's so different now. The first practices, it used to be, you're trying to really the first practices were for freshmen back in the day. And, now 2/3 of our freshman class was here for spring football. And so those guys you think of them as veterans, really. So they were so much further along with those young guys. They know what to do. Our guys did a really good job over the summer in terms of learning the scheme and spending time in the film room and doing things on their own, to improve our knowledge of what we're doing offensively, defensively, and on special teams for that matter. So I just feel like we're a lot further along than we are traditionally. I mean, we can go out, we can play football at a pretty high level on day one. We didn't have a bunch of false starts. We had one drop snap. I think one bad snap the whole practice. It was pretty clean practice. And again, goes back to, the preparation really that takes place in the spring and in particular in June and in July. Yeah. Running backs are interesting, that's, you have to do so many things at that position, and I don't think anybody that follows our program doesn't know how important it is going to be for us to be able to run the football downhill. And we did a really poor job of that last year of just grinding things out and handing it off and getting 2 or 3 yards and having a physical downhill mentality. And I think these backs are a step in the right direction. Obviously, we have to improve up front with our pad level and just our physical demeanor, and we got to do a better job of putting guys in situations, as from a scheme standpoint, a coaching standpoint. So all that stuff goes together. But I like the running back room a lot. I think all the guys are impressive. I think it's a room full of guys that have different strengths. And so I think the big thing, the guy that's going to, probably get the starts and the most carries is going to be the guy that's most consistent and can protect, catch the ball, can get the nasty 2 or 3 yards when we need it, and just plays at a consistent level. And I think all the guys show a tremendous amount of promise, and they're all, like I said, they're all different, which I like. I like it when you have different backs. It's a little bit like the wide receiver room. There's just so many different skill sets in the room. It's encouraging. So anyway, it'll be fun to see that competition play out. I don't have any idea how it's going to play out. I know this. I mean, John Denman opened some eyes in the spring and continues to do it. He's a downhill physical guy, as a true freshman. KB's got a chance to do it as well. I mean, he's downhill, physical, runs hard, he's got a lot of experience. Obviously, Battle's been here for a long time. I thought Payne was probably our most consistent back last year, and really like the whole group, and like them all. I think they're all unique and different and bring something to the table.
With Hoover, the experience he's got now, how different do you see him kind of handle himself now, and then what changes in the water too?
With Ken and Josh both, you just have two really mature, experienced, confident, stable people, and there's just a calming presence when you're kind of around those guys. I think our team has a ton of confidence in both of them. I thought Ken had a great spring, and I thought he really kind of picked up where he left off today. And obviously, I think Josh really played at a high level today as well. So love what I'm seeing from both those guys. I think you can tell that they put a lot of time in with those receivers. I thought Jordan Dwyer did some really good things today, for a new guy. Eric, we expected him to do what he did today. There's just so many good young players. When you look at the freshman receiver group, I'm not so sure, all four of those guys won't play this year. And I don't know that I've ever been around a group that had a chance for that many young guys to get on the field and play. And they're all, like I said, they're all different. But it's a really, really good group. Ed Small is just incredibly consistent, and every time you throw him the ball, he makes a play. Jacoby Hayes, has a motor, can run, competes hard, physical, tough. He really stood out in off-season workouts, as a guy that just, wants to go compete. And he wasn't here in the spring, so he's got some catching up to do, but he just plays so hard and so fast and so physical and so confident. It's hard not to envision him getting on the field at some point. Terry Shelton's the big body guy that can, that has made huge strides from the spring, and just learning how to be tough and consistent and physical. Has taken some steps, still not probably where he needs to be yet, but it's headed there pretty quickly. Dane is same thing, very smooth, catches the ball well, has great instincts. So like the young group a lot. We'll see, if they can stay as consistent as they were today. That's the big thing with those young guys. It's just sometimes it's hard for them to do it every day. But I thought they all did some good things today. No, it's way up in the air. Yeah, it's way up in the air. There's some guys working with the threes right now that I think will probably have a chance to get in the rotation some. So, I mean, the way I look at it right now, there's probably legitimately 12 guys competing for starting spots right now. I know that sounds crazy, but I really believe that. Some of those young guys are just so talented. You got to try to find a way to get them on the field if you can. And so, that's going to be the big thing for us, is trying to decide, okay, are we comfortable with the tackles? Do we feel good about where we are with those guys? And then, is there a tackle that can improve that's better than, is the third tackle better than the first guard? And so if so, then we got to get them trained to play guard. And so that's going to be ongoing. A little bit hard to tell today without pads, but overall I kind of liked what I saw. So we'll see how it plays out over spring. But I think legitimately, I mean, there's guys, like I said, they were on threes today that I think will probably have a chance to play in the first couple of ball games. You just got to be careful of that. I think the thing you got to do, camp is a long time, and you got to really just focus on getting better every day. And I know it's kind of a lame answer, but it's true. And we talked to the guys about this post practice. I mean, it really is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so, the thing that you have to learn as a football player and this is all hard for quarterbacks, especially guys that have played a lot of snaps and guys that get some confidence. And when you start to execute at a high level, all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm tired of checking it down. I'm going to try to fit this ball into this window. And you just got to keep, dropping it down and making the routine plays. And you can't get bored doing that. And we can't do that as a team. And so I think for us, we're a long way from getting to that point, but, but we've got a lot of experience, a lot of guys that have played football. And so, we got to worry about ourselves. We got to worry about, getting better at doing what we do. And then, it's like anything else. You have a couple of extra days to get ready for the opening opponent. And we've had a lot of time. So, we've got a pretty far down the road in terms of a game plan on both sides of the ball. So we'll get to it, but I think it can be dangerous if you get to it too early. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, when you play a quality opponent early, and especially a game that's going to draw the attention and eyes, sets of eyes that this game will, you don't have to say much. Guys are going to be motivated. Good. Yeah, I like the unit. It's deeper than we've ever had. I think Ansel really, made an impact in the spring. Kelton and Perry and those guys, I think, are guys that can give us really meaningful snaps. They're both strong, big guys, that have enough athleticism. They're still learning how to play. But I like the group. I really do. I think that, it's going to be very competitive to see who the starters are. Zach Chapman, I thought, played well last year and got better in the spring, and I thought he did some good things today. So I like the group. Love the depth, love the competition. Tristan Johnson is a guy that again stood out in the spring and today I thought showed up. And so there's going to be a ton of competition in there and it'd be fun to watch it kind of play out. And then obviously Marcus is a guy that we're counting on. We need for him to be, reach his potential, and I think that's, again, goes back to what we've talked to our players about is, look, what does a successful season for us look like? It looks like us reaching our potential. And what is that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know how we stack up to everybody else. But I just want us to get as good individually and collectively as we can and play at a really, really high level and get the guys that have potential. Our job is to get everything we can out of them. And we haven't always done that. So we got to figure out a way to do it. Yeah. Night and day. This time last year, we can line up, and so it's just completely different. So it's encouraging. It's good. Nobody prepares harder than Andy and that defensive staff. Those guys work incredibly hard in terms of getting the guys ready and having a plan and having a kind of a step-by-step process on how to develop, young players and bring guys along. And so you can tell it's year two for the guys that have been here. You can tell they're further along in year one than we probably were last season, with the new guys, just in terms of our ability to teach and the work that we've put in up to this point. Well, look, I think our guys, number one, are appreciative. Appreciative to our donors and the supporters of our football program because they're the ones that made that happen. I think it lets the guys know, just how important football is here at TCU and to this university. And, and I think that it falls in line with, our overall philosophy, that when you're in the building, it's incredibly important. When you're here for a meeting, when you're here for practice, those are very, very important parts. But we're trying to teach our guys how important it is when they leave here and when they're not in football in terms of recovering, in terms of what they're doing in the weight room, and so we've got $50 million worth of investment between the weight room and the recovery center. And I think it's like anything else. We talk about how important that is. And I think our players realize, okay, look, they just invested $50 million in this. So this is obviously a big deal. And so the guys are excited to use it. The guys that have gotten in and have used some of the technology in there have had glowing reports about how it made them feel and how they've been able to recover. And so, I think it's something that's very, very valuable. And I think it, like I said, it goes along with our program just about how important it is if you want to be great, the amount of work and investment that it takes. And so much of that is when you leave the facility and when you're outside of football time, are you in there recovering at the very highest level that you can and using all the technology to help yourself feel better and get better and prevent injuries and all the things? And then are you sleeping and are you eating right and hydrating and using supplementation and all the things that you can do at home, to be available. And we talked about this with our players, the importance of being available. That's the, most important characteristic of a successful football player is they're available. They find a way to stay healthy. they find a way to be able to go out every day and practice, and then they perform at a high level in ball games.
Secondary.
Yep. It'll be fun. It's going to be like the offensive line. I mean, it's the same deal. I mean, there's 5 spots with a nickel. There's 10 guys, 12 guys that could play in those 5 spots. And so, you feel good about the 2 safeties and their experience and what they've done. But you've got some guys that are kind of nipping at their heels a little bit. And then, we have a ton of depth at corner. And so it's fun to see, how that's going to play out, because, there's guys that have played pretty well there at times. I thought Channing really came on the second half of the season last year and played well and carried some of that momentum through the spring. Javon McIver, I thought, did some really good things as well during the season and in the spring. And then, you've got 2 really talented guys coming back, Avery that's got some experience and Vernon that's really, really talented. And then you throw some other guys into the mix and you look up and you got a good group. And so I like the group. I think it's going to be competitive. I think it's going to bring out the best in everybody by going out there and competing every day and fighting for a job. Yeah, LaDainian's incredible. I mean, he wants to help. He loves TCU. He's incredibly appreciative. I think he sets the standard for, somebody who took advantage of their opportunities here at TCU. He did that, obviously, went on to had tremendous success, became a Hall of Famer, and then wants to give back, and I think that's exactly the way this stuff is supposed to work. I think if you're fortunate to be blessed and to have that kind of career that he had, you want to pay it forward. And very few people do to the extent that he does. And it just tells you what kind of person he is. I mean, it's never about him. It's always about what can I do to help? I don't really want the attention. I just want to help. And it's never about him. It's always about how can I help TCU and how can I help young people? I think he really has a passion for helping young people and trying to be a positive influence in their lives. So it was a huge deal, him giving back. Obviously those Hall of Fame jackets are hard to come by. You know what I'm saying? Those things don't grow on trees. And so the fact that he, thought of doing that and agreed to do it and wanted to do it, I think is such a big deal and just speaks so highly about what kind of person he is and also too about, the experience he had here at TCU. I mean, he loves this university, loves the football program. And, he knows obviously what a difference it made in his life. Yeah. I mean, I think that's people say it, I say it, but I do think sometimes people take it for granted. I mean, this is kind of a different place. I mean, people that go to school here, they love this place unlike any other group of alumni I've ever been around. I mean, they just love the experience of going to school here. And I think it makes them want to be back around. And so Aaron's been a great addition for us. Jay Lou's been a great addition for us. It's just good to get guys back that have invested in this place and really, really care about it and love it. They're not here. They don't view it as a job. I think they view it more as a passion. And I think when you have a guy that cares about a place like that, I mean, it's pretty valuable. All right, guys. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
I think we all get along pretty well. We've been in the room for a long time, all the freshmen in there too, so we got to get along. But I'd explain our room. It's pretty competitive. You got me, who I think I'm a solidified starter, but you got guys behind me like Dozie, second year. He's trying to play. You got a guy by him, Bray. He came from Notre Dame. He's trying to play. And on the other side, JD, he just transferred. Manjack, very competitive guy. We're trying to get him back. And you got a 4-star in Terry who's trying to get on the field too. He saw him today make a couple plays. So we all get along pretty well. Like there's never no, it's my rep. I'm going to step up. If it's your rep, take it. And we're all pretty competitive guys. So it's just a competitive room.
How's it been working with Coach Colton so far?
Working with a guy who won the Blitnikoff and came out of the first round, it's really a blessing. We got to really take anything he gives us because, he won that reward. He's been in the first round. He's been in the league. So it's just a blessing having him around.
Coach Dykes was here coming to all 40 freshmen too.
Yes. Ed Small coming from Austin, him being a big guy at his high school, him coming in, our slots, they're just all great guys, no matter who's out there at Parker. They can all play. Terry, him being a 4-star coming in, he can play. Jacoby, really fast guy, really twitchy, he could play. It's really just depending on what guys are available and what guys aren't. But the guys that can step up are mostly all freshmen, and they're all pretty talented, so we're not worried. I would say just like like even on one of those plays I dropped the ball, I came back and telling guys like me just like being a leader out there, just keep my head up, not putting my head down, not trying to be a down guy just because I dropped the ball and worried about the next guy and saying, hey, like, what are you running? And him telling me being like, okay, he's inside leverage, run this, outside leverage, run this, just being a guy that can always give advice, even when I just drop the ball coming back. So, I mean, it's a high profile game just because the coach, Bill Belichick, but he's not going to be on the field, So we're looking at this just as another game. We know it's a big game just because it's a big name in it, but it's just another game, just like playing Tech or Baylor or something. Just like there's a game that we're going into. Do what we got to do, offensive, defensive wise, and we think we're going to win the game no matter what. I feel like it just has to be trust. He knows where I'm going to be, and I know where I got to be. So if we're on the same page on every play, we're going to get the ball. Whether it's, like cover two can't hit me on a whole shot, and I was not supposed to run in the whole shot, but two veterans being on the same play, and that's Hoover. When he's back there, we're most likely going to be on the same page, just like when Ken threw me that ball. So we're always on the same page. He trusts me, I trust him, and we just go out there and just connect.
He does a really good job of just giving me a window to throw the ball even when he's covered. And what I mean by that is he just does a good job of adjusting late to the ball. I mean, they're in our team period right there. I threw him a fade on RPO, and I threw it right when he hit his release super early, and he knows that I'm throwing it early on that play. And so he just sets the DB up so well that I can just put the ball in the air and he's going to make it right. And so that's why it always kind of looks natural between us. It's just he has the ability to make the ball look right even when it's not. So guys like that, it's super easy to throw to. It makes it really easy on me. I just got to get the ball out early like Coach Dykes preaches and let those guys kind of adjust and make plays. That's what he does so well. I think just decision making and continuing to move forward in that area. I mean, the more you play, the more you learn, the more you see things. You notice looks, you notice what's about to happen, you understand what they're going to do to you. And so you just kind of keep developing in that area and making good decisions in the run game and the throw game and checking it down, throwing touchdowns and checking plays. Just as a quarterback, just evolving in my decision making and my maturity as a quarterback. And I think I've taken really big strides in that area and looking forward to improving that for the next 3 weeks going into North Carolina. I mean, going out there today, I felt so much different than I did a year ago, 2 years ago. Thinking back on it, it's kind of funny. Just thinking about, just what it used to be like, I guess. When you're young, you don't really understand. You're just kind of out there. Things are just happening. I feel like now I have a lot more control over what's happening. And obviously there's things that happen you can't control, and you got to move on and keep moving on as quarterback and do your job and stay level-headed. But I think just where we're at now as an offense, being in year 3 with Coach Browse, it's just a totally different feel situation. I think we kind of know what we're doing, and now it's just fine-tuning those details and just kind of keeping improving until week 1. And so, I like just based off what you said, I just feel super comfortable, super excited to be here, and glad to get started. Yeah, it's big. Anytime you can get extra reps in spring, it's huge. More reps, and you could focus on, like I said, decision making and get those connections with the new guys coming out of the portal. And so it was really big this spring, being able to be there and get those reps and get those extra 15 practices. I think it's made a big difference. Just noticing on day 1 today, I felt really comfortable. I thought it was really sharp. Saw some young guys make some really big plays, and then the guys we're gonna need to count on, they were there when I needed them, so it's gonna be good. Yeah, there's a lot. I think they did a great job recruiting young receivers. I think we're gonna have good receivers here for a very long time. I've talked about Dozie a lot. I think Dozie's a guy I really am counting on to be good for us this year. I expect him to have a big role, make a lot of plays, similar to like Eric did last year. So I expect a lot from Dozie. I expect a lot from Ed Small. Dane, just Dane. There's a lot of guys, young guys, Jacoby. We just got a lot of young guys that are really, really talented players, and so I'm looking forward to see kind of who evolves in the next 3 weeks. It's easy to kind of go out of the offseason and say, oh, this is who we think it's going to be, but a lot of times it's never people you think it's going to be. Guys evolve, guys get better, and they show up week 1, and so it's all about being available, being healthy, and continue to improve. So looking forward to seeing who kind of evolves over these next 3 weeks, and it's going to be a good year for us, and definitely lots of young talent, so it's exciting for me. Oh, it's been great. Ken is super, super talented. I've said this a lot, but I think Ken has some of the best arm talent that I've seen. Not just like backup starter guys, just everybody. He's got a lot of arm talent. He's got a really good ability to be accurate with football, make good decisions, and so when you've got a guy like that in the room, it's always pushing me, like you said, and so it's definitely been really good for me, and I'm excited that he's here. He's been a great team guy, great guy in the quarterback room, and I think it's really important to have a good quarterback room. It kind of trickles down to the rest of the team, and this is the best quarterback room I've been a part of. I mean, everybody in there is just super selfless and wants to get better and wants to accept their role and do the best they can with their role and help the team. So when you've got a group like that, and Ken is kind of a leader in that room too, it's a big deal. And so super appreciative for Ken, and I can't say enough about how good of a player he is, and he's a stud. Yeah, I mean, similar to what Coach said, there's a lot of guys that have the potential to play. It's just all about the next 3 weeks. I mean, some guys are going to show up, some guys aren't. So it's just part of it, part of the process, and looking forward to kind of, who's going to take that next step. And we've got some young guys that have played some snaps and played well, but we just need more consistency out of them. And so looking forward to see who's going to kind of evolve like we've been talking about over these next couple of weeks, and it's going to be fun. We've got some young guys like Ryan Hughes. He played last year, started at the end of the year, and was a good player. And Ben, looking forward to see what he can improve on and keep getting better. He's got all the ability, all the talent, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him. And then interior wise, we've got a lot of talent in there, older guys who have played a lot of snaps, so I feel like really solid in there. But we've got some young tackles, and with Van Hoy, and there's a lot of guys that are young that have ability, and so I'm looking forward to see who kind of takes control. Yeah, I mean, I can say anything to him, and he can say anything to me. Nobody's gonna get mad. It's just whatever. I mean, he's gotten mad at me before, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. And so we have a great relationship, and it's really good when you have a relationship like that, because you can just communicate, be honest, and do what you need to do. Yeah, I mean, it's always, it's a business. I mean, this is a business, and I think everyone's starting to understand that. I mean, the more the money is getting involved, I think people understand that, hey, this isn't like just go happy-go-lucky play football. Like this is the real deal. This is college football. It's what it's become. And so you either play well and you play well early, or you're not going to be here. I mean, that's just kind of part of it. I mean, it's kind of what it's become. And you don't have time anymore. You don't get to sit there and develop for 3 or 4 years. You have to be ready when you get here and compete early, or you're just not going to be a part of the team. And that's just kind of how college football is. It's so competitive now. That's just part of it. So it's business, and I think everybody here has a chip on their shoulder. I know I do, about having a great year and beating people in the Big 12. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm excited about. And I think it just comes down to that. Yeah, it's changed so much. My first year, I don't think there's really anybody getting paid too much, and so I know I wasn't. I mean, I was getting like a free lunch, but there wasn't many guys getting paid. And then you look up 3 years later, and this is what it is now. And so it's changed fast, and I think there's been good things and bad things come from it, and it's just kind of part of life. There's always good things and bad things from things that happen, and it's been interesting to kind of go through and see it all evolve. But I think college football is heading in the right direction with some of the changes we've made, and I think it's going to be good.
Does it change the culture in locker room?
No, I mean, it's changed the future for a lot of guys. I mean, you're giving guys an opportunity to have a head start on life. I mean, how many 20-year-old kids get to have, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank account by the time they graduate? I mean, most people have debt, right? And so that's the way I see it. I think it's going to be great if guys can handle the money the right way. And, TCU is doing a good job of informing the guys on what to do with it and how to handle it. And if guys can do it the right way, they're going to have successful lives because of college football. So I think it's a good thing, and it's definitely been great.
You mentioned the chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even really know that. I mean, I don't really pay attention to stuff. I mean, I'm not really on social media. I just play football and do my thing off the field and hunt, fish, and just show up every day, try to get better. So, I mean, all I'm worried about is being the best I can be. Maximizing my potential, being the best quarterback I can be for TCU and winning a Big 12 championship. So, at the end of the day, the people that write the articles don't get to play, so it is what it is.
Fish caught this
I caught an 8-pounder on Lake Ray Roberts.
Jake Plummer's 4-0 against Bill Belichick. We watch any of his.
I'll be honest, I didn't even hear what you said. What did you say?
Jake Plummer, do you know that name?
Oh yeah, from Washington.
Yeah, he's 4-0.
Yeah, we might watch some of that. Yeah, sorry, I didn't really hear you the first time, but yeah, I remember watching him a little bit growing up. So yeah, maybe it's a good idea. I might go buzz that.
It just helped me know that I have guaranteed money. Like of course anything can happen in that league. Get hurt, do anything. Same here, but it was just pretty much guaranteed. And I have a son at home, so I also was thinking of him too. Yeah, it's crazy because today we were in our punt emphasis, and I was really just sitting there just looking because I'm not on punt. And I was just looking around like, golly, this is gonna be my last one here. I took it in, just soaked it all in pretty much.
Are we sure it's your last?
I don't know. I feel like everybody's energetic, everybody's like eager to learn. So I feel like that alone says a lot. You know, just having people that are able to like things like that and want to get coached. So I feel like it'll be great for us. I feel like iron sharpen iron, so everybody getting better in the room. So like however it come out, it'll never be slack on the field. You know, it'll be cool later. Like not right now, I don't too much care about it, but all my friends do back at home. But I really like. I only pay attention to when my son get older, like just about a game when he older. I love Paul. That's one of my favorite people. So I feel like it's honestly like just having him it makes us more experienced, honestly, you know, because he's been there. He's played many games, got games on his belt. So I feel like just having him is going to be great for us. You're only as good as the weakest man in your room. So I feel like, and we don't have any weak anywhere. So I feel like we're great, honestly. I feel like as soon as he came in, like he fit right in, like a puzzle piece. Honestly, like he was learning, asking questions, pretty much. Then he became our friends. You know, we all cool with him. Like, but just having him is boosting the safeties room. Honestly, because of the fact that we add more experience on top of what we have. I tell them boys, you know, like just because you know defense still got punt, you know, punt return, different things like that. You always capitalize on that because you get paid the same way at the next level. I feel like the last one we were more worried about the name, pretty much. So I feel like this time it's just a regular game. Like there's nothing to it really. Yeah, that's gonna be great. Honestly, I like the pressure. Either bust pipes or create diamonds. So we'll see then. A lot of just small details, really. Like you know, because I've been in the game a little while. Got like over probably 2,000 snaps. So I feel like he just kind of really with me. He's just very technique, very detailed. Just finding small details that we can hone in on to make better.
I'd say just a whole lot easier on us, just not really having to think too much and kind of just allows us to be out there playing more freely. I'd say I kind of like more just because I'm playing more true backer at the wheel. The old defense is kind of more of a hybrid stuff, so just playing the wheel spot is like more of an actual linebacker spot in the NFL, so it's kind of getting me ready for that. I'd say I'm pretty comfortable. I would say one of my goals or things I was trying to do this offseason was kind of gain some weight to be one of that short backer thing. But at the same time, you know, I like being able to be put around all over the field and just makes it better so I can be available. Yeah, some of the younger guys, I'd say actually Mike Thiessen, he's a transfer. We got him, so, you know, he'd be able to come in, help rotate. We also got Max Carroll. So I think probably me and Caleb, but, you know, the two other guys are good. And then we also got some freshmen, Deuce and Dylan. You know, they're good, but, you know, they're still young, so it's got a few more reps. But once they get their time, you know, they should be good. I'd say just the connection, kind of like that first year, I'd say people were real tight. And then the year after that, we really weren't. And you kind of see the difference between those 2 years. And so I kind of say this off season, just like team building stuff the coaches have us done, and just I guess being around the players a lot, you know, feel like we have a real connection with the guys we're about to be playing with. So I feel like that's going to actually like show off when we're playing games. Obviously it wasn't the season we really wanted. It's kind of just based off the slow start. So it kind of just shows that every single week, you know, you got to do your job, and you don't know which game is going to be the deciding one in the season. You know, it means a lot. Paul's you know, a big, strong guy. You know, he's also had a few snaps. I'm pretty sure he was starting at 23 season. So, you know, it's good to have another return like that back. I'd say Caleb is kind of more like me, like an athletic linebacker. So, you know, it's just good to have another fast moving around linebacker like that. You know, me and him talk. I feel like we play the same. So, you know, it's good to play next to somebody like that. I'd probably say me and Bud just because we kind of been here the longest and we be leading them. You know, I'm still kind of working on that a little bit. I'm kind of more of a just lead by action, but I guess the coaches are trying to get me to be more vocal and just speak up. So still got to work on it, but I feel like I'm heading in the right direction. It was kind of when I was just walking in the building, I was kind of just thinking like, this is the last one. You know, even last year I was thinking it was the last one. So now I'm already knowing that this is for sure it. So I'm just trying to embrace it all.